So to my viewers, once again, when you look at this example, this is 9.1. This example declares two variables of the string type and concatenates them using the ampersand sign, which is shown here. Create a project and insert a button and name as button show and change its text to show message. You can assign a value to the string using the assignment operator. Now enter the following code. Now if you look at this code, previously we used to have to write a code using Visual Basic 6.0. Then what used to happen is that we would have this access modifier, private, sub, button show, click, and then there used to be just some brackets here. But for this time now, because we are using Visual Basic.net, you find that we have this other addition, that is sender as object, E as event arguments, then we close the brackets, then handles button show dot click. In other words, it's trying to explain that there is a button whose name is button show, and then it will handle the event once that button show is clicked. So we have dim your name as string, which is assigned to George, then dim my message as string. My message is now assigned to happy birthday. Message box, we have this, and then anytime you always start a Visual Basic code with sub, then of course you end with sub. In this other example, we create a simple calculator where the user enters his name, two numbers, and click the calculate button to compute the addition of two numbers. It also displays the dates, and there are three data types here: string, integer, and dates. We also use the format function to display the current date of computation. So we have private sub, button, calc, underscore click. In other ones, we are giving the name of the button as button calc. Then then of course it should work with clicking. That means when we have sender as object and A as event arguments, then it handles button calc click. So once the button calc click is clicked, then this is when the operation will take place. Then we have dim your name as string, and then dim run date as date. Your name is assigned to text, txt name.text. Number 1 is assigned to val txt num1.text. Number 2, num2 is assigned to val txt num2.text, and the sum is a combination of num1 and num2. That is, sum is assigned to num1 added to num2. Then the label sum.text is supposed to have string sum. Date, run date is format now general date, and label date.text is assigned to run date. Then we end sub. And this is what we have. So we have, this is a label, then the text box where you put the date. Of course, you have already specified the variable for the date, the data type date, then the label for enter your name, then the text box, we have the name John, then another label for enter first number. In our case, we have entered 67. Then another label, enter second number, which you have entered as 88. Then sum. So once you come and click on calculate, which in the code is given as button calc underscore click, then the result here should be 155, which is the sum of 67 and 88. Then briefly we look at assigning values to variables. After declaring various variables using the dim statements, we can assign values to those variables. And the syntax of an assignment in Visual Basic 2019 is as follows. We have the variable, which is assigned to expression. You may also declare a variable by assigning an initial value to it, as shown in the following examples. Dim var name as string, which is assigned to ABC. Dim var num as integer, which is assigned to 100. The variable can be a declared variable or a control property value. The expression could be a mathematical expression, a number, a string, a Boolean value, which is true or false, and more, as illustrated in the following examples. First number assigned to 100, second number assigned to first number minus 99. Then user name is John Lane. Then label4.text is assigned to text box 1.text. Third number is assigned to val username1.text. Total is assigned to first number added to second number plus that number. Mean score percentage is sum score percentage over num subject percentage. And then we have x, which is square root of 16. At times, an error occurs when you try to assign a value to a variable of incompatible data type. For example, if you have declared a variable as an integer, but you assigned a string value to 8, an error occurs as shown in this example. Here we have the private sub, of course, for the case of VB.NET, there is the other stuff here. Dim, your message has integer. Then your message, you have assigned it to happy birthday, which in our case we know this data type is a string. And so, then you have message box, your message, and sub. When you run the program, this is what happens. There will be an exception, an ANDOD, system.invalid cast exemption, conversion from string happy birthday to type integer is not valid. Inner exception, formal exception, input string was not in a correct format. And students, I always remind you, anytime you see an error pops up when you are writing a code, when you are trying to take time to look at the nature of the error, and then of course you know how you go about the process of debugging. This is of course an error as a result of assigning the wrong data type. Then we again look at what we are calling scope of declaration. In Visual Basic 2019, we usually use the dim keyword to declare the data. However, you can also use other keywords to declare the data. 3 other keywords are private, static, and public. The forms are as shown below. In other words, it's not always that you always start with your Visual Basic program with a private sub. At times it can be private, it can be static, it can be public. For example, private variable name as data type, static variable name as data type, public as variable name as data type. The procedure is terminated, and public is a keyword that declares a global variable, which means it can be used by all the procedures and modules of the whole VB.NET program. Then we look at declaring constants. Constants are different from variables in the sense that their values do not change during the running of the program. The syntax to declare a constant is as follows. We have the keyword const, then constant name as data type, which is assigned to a value. An example to show declaration of constant is as shown here. Private sub button 1 underscore click const pi as single, which is assigned to 3.142. In other words, pi is always constant. We normally use it to calculate the area of a circle. Dim r as single, which is assigned to 10. Dim area circle as single. Area circle is assigned to pi multiplied by the square of the radius, which is r. Message box area of circle with. Now this ampersand sign is now playing the role of concatenation, whereby you want to bring this element of string closer to the radius, in which in our case radius we know is not a string. All this is to do with concatenation, so that once you have the values aligned on the console window, they look as if they are close together, but they are not joined. And of course we end sub. We now come to the end of our presentation on variables and constants in Visual Basic. We look forward to hear your comments. We value your comments so much. You can like our videos. Remember to subscribe so that once we post a video, you are notified. Our YouTube channel, as usual, is Flockale Show. Of course, go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. And I thank all those viewers who are following us, in particular those who are continuing to comment. We are taking your comments very seriously so that we can be able to share, be able to inform and educate in a more elaborate way. Thank you so much for viewing Flockale Show.